But first, at the start of another Brexit week full of important votes, we're hearing MPs may have to work late and through their holidays to get a deal through, if one is approved, of course. So, where are we at this critical juncture? Well, a short while ago, I spoke to the Solicitor General, Llanelli-born Robert Buckland, who came into our Swindon studio, and I asked him what's different from the Prime Minister's current plan from that which was thrown out by MPs a couple of weeks ago.
Well, the Prime Minister is still working on amendments to that plan. She announced last week in Parliament that she would be consulting not just with parliamentarians but with wider society as well. And of course, this is a negotiation, so she'll need time in order to take any proposals back to Brussels. I think Tuesday's motions and the many, many amendments that we're seeing are an opportunity for Parliament to start to express its opinion as to, I hope, what it wants rather than what it doesn't want. Though so far, all I see on the order paper in the main are expressions of what it doesn't want. I think it's important that we give the Prime Minister the necessary time and space to get on with Plan B and then to come back with a second meaningful vote in February so that we can then make a positive decision about what it is that the United Kingdom seeks.
The problem is that time and space...
withdrawal agreement.
Yeah, but time and space are in very much short supply at the moment. And isn't the main problem that Theresa May can't actually get her own party, your own Conservative Party, to agree on a way forwards?
Well, I'm seeing encouraging signs that colleagues of all persuasions are actually working hard to try to come to agreement. I think the Graham-Brady amendment, which is an amendment about the backstop, but still being positive about wishing to seek a withdrawal agreement, is indeed a welcome indicator that although we've had quite entrenched positions on some of these issues, that Conservatives want to come together. But it's not just about Conservatives, it is about MPs of other parties too.
But just to look
and
at
I think on the Labour benches there are a significant number of colleagues there who want to
you're talking about the Graham-Brady amendment there. This is a sort of a time limit on that Northern Irish backstop, something that Michel Barnier, the chief negotiator from the EU, has rejected in the past. But as the sort of one of the main legal officers, legal advisors, if you like, for the UK government, how confident are you that extension, the time limit to that backstop in Northern Ireland would be legally sound?
Well, look, I think a time limit is one potential way of dealing with the issue. I think we've said in the past quite rightly that understanding a backstop means that it is an insurance policy that has an indefinite duration. In other words, you can't really impose a specific time limit. But there are other ways as well of dealing with the backstop. It might be the very nature of the arrangements within the backstop, still guaranteeing the Irish border, that we need to look at very carefully. I think the key here is that Europe is looking for a proposal that has support in Parliament. If Mr Barnier and his colleagues see that within Parliament there is a wide degree of support for a particular approach, then that, I'm sure, will make them sit up and take notice and could indeed make the key difference that we're all seeking.
But that support, that idea of Parliament having a single voice, is something which has been called for and rejected for several months now. Do you think that the point has been reached where that point at which we leave the European Union 29th of March needs to be extended by a certain amount of time now?
Well, look, I think a lot of people talk about extension in a way that doesn't fully understand the European, the EU point of view. My clear understanding of it is that the EU would be minded to grant an extension if there was, for example, a continuing agreement that needed a legal framework, dotting the I's and crossing the T's, if you like, and that would be for a short period, bearing in mind the European elections are coming hard and fast upon us, or that if there was some major event like an election, but they're not just going to grant an extension for no good reason. They want to move on from all of this because they have 101 different things to think about themselves. And therefore I think it's time for colleagues to start coming up with positive ideas if indeed they do not want a no deal. I have been very clear that I think a no-deal crash-out would not be in our national interest, but I think it's time for all of us to come up with constructive proposals to prevent that, rather than the sort of wishful thinking about seeking a general extension that I don't think will be granted.
The constructive proposals that you're mentioning there haven't really got the support of enough members of Parliament. I just wonder, just quickly, can you just tell us what you think will happen on Tuesday evening now?
Well, I think all eyes seem to be on the so-called Cooper-Bowles amendment, which we all know would give Parliament time to debate a bill that, in effect, would ask the government to seek an extension of Article 50. That, as I understand, is very much on a knife edge. I wouldn't like to call the result of that vote, but there are a number of other votes as well that will, in effect, be expressions of political opinion. Look, I don't think that Tuesday is actually the crunch night that some people seem to think it is. But I think it's important now that we get on with concluding the discussions so that the PM can go back to Brussels as quickly as possible, and then we can have a vote in February on a second meaningful proposition.
Yeah, Robert Buckland, thank you very much for your time. Robert Buckland there, the Llanelli-born MP. We can now go to the MP for Llanelli.